What? 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 What?
So this is going to be a different video for me. I've got to warn you ahead of time, it might be long. I don't know exactly. I'm going to talk about a guy named Rick Beato. Beato? I don't know. And specifically, I'm going to talk about one video that he made. Although I recommend his whole channel to you in entirety, I know some of you may not be interested in it. He's not really part of the record community in general, the vinyl community. What he is would be part of the music community or musicians community maybe. He's talking primarily about musicians' issues, but this one I think pertains to us as a community as well. And some of you might find his videos kind of informational and interesting anyway, so I recommend you check them out.
Why shouldn't you be able to play these things and have the people get paid?
So what we're talking about here, what Rick's talking about, is the topic of YouTube either flagging or blocking videos because they include music from somebody. And you know, that's an issue that is near and dear to my heart. I think it's ridiculous to have to shoot these videos without doing musical examples of what you're talking about. It's, you know, like trying to describe an elephant to a blind man, like they say. So he's talking mainly about what affects him is the blocking of videos. And I haven't had that experience. I haven't had a couple videos flagged already, and I expect to have a lot more. Blocking, yeah, I could see where I'd be upset about that, but so far that's not the issue for me. My issue is, you know, why is this a thing at all? You know, why? And besides that, there are so many videos of concerts and of actual songs and of things like that. You know, what you and I are doing is just playing little snippets of videos or of music. And then we're talking about it, and I don't see what the issue with that is at all. So that's part of when I get upset about things, it has to do with it not making sense. And I think that's what Rick's talking about here too.
What? These are all copyright strikes here. Every one of these emails is a YouTube copyright claim here, right?
So I guess Rick is something of a famous guy. Honestly, I didn't know about him until I stumbled across his YouTube channel. He's done, he's been the producer of a couple bands that, honestly, I don't know the names of the bands or don't know their music. It doesn't mean anything to me. He's certainly more of a big shot than I am, and he's got somewhere above 750,000 views. No, not views, subscribers. You know, so he's in a whole different league than what you or I are, or what you and I can expect to be. And it's ridiculous the amount of copyright strikes he gets. I don't know if he's talking about just this one particular occasion. I guess he is, because there's some new sort of AI or something that's finding songs and flagging them. So that's what he's reacting to right here. It's kind of funny because I guess he just took off for England. He lives in Atlanta otherwise, but this is made from a hotel room in England. And I guess he was so pissed off about it, he had to respond right away. And I don't know the exact circumstances, but it is hilarious how animated he is.
I'm doing a history of rock guitar, okay? So Ozzy Osbourne's estate, or whoever, claimed 10 seconds of a Randy Rhoads live solo, okay? It was Mr. Crowley. That's the solo. He's improvising, okay? Now,
by his own admission, where Rick gets in trouble with this is he mentions Ozzy Osbourne's name. And evidently that's a trigger. Anything associated with Ozzy Osbourne gets flagged. That's something good for me to know about, and I imagine you too. Not specifically about Ozzy Osbourne, but evidently there are a number of artists, or there are a number of artists, management groups, record labels, that are ultra strict about this. And it doesn't only pertain, really, I should say, to the music industry. My son does video streaming. Actually, both my sons do. And they absolutely cannot touch video games by Nintendo because Nintendo is absolutely hardcore about their intellectual properties not being used to make videos, which I think is insane.
It's idiotic. You can't teach music without playing music. Well, I go and I talk about why songs are great. What makes this song great? I'm doing an advertisement for the songs about why they are great, for songs that aren't earning them any money. I just saw this. Avid Fire just said, I thought educational uses were legal. Yeah, they're supposed to be. Who do you fight?
I don't know how many of you consider yourselves educators. Probably, if you're like me, you hadn't really thought about it. But when Rick puts what he's doing in that context of being an educator, really in the broader sense, it's what you and I are doing too. We're not teaching anybody how to play guitar, but when I find a group that I'm excited about, that's when I make a video telling you, educating you about something that I think you're going to like. Just like this video, Rick could complain and have this struck down, I guess, but I'm excited about this video of Rick's, and so I'm wanting to educate you about it, tell you about it, in case you might be interested in watching it as well.
Now, I see somebody say, well, go to Vimeo. No, YouTube is great. It's not YouTube that's the problem here. They're not making the rules. YouTube wants people. They want to keep videos up. They want YouTubers that have successful channels to, they want them to be successful. Why would they? It's not them doing this. YouTube is all about having videos. Somebody just said, what is YouTube without videos? Exactly. They're not the ones. The problem is you got to figure out who the people are. And I got to think that it's the artists. I have to think it's the artists. They have to think it's the artists and the record labels or the publishing companies not telling them that it's in their best interest to have their videos stay up.
Okay, now on this, I've got to disagree with Rick a little bit, halfway anyway. That record companies, management, if you will, I don't know exactly who it is that runs the purse strings and so on. I'm going to say it's the record label, but I don't know that for a fact. It's probably whoever manages the band. Anyway, that person is who I think is responsible for the most part. Musicians, oh yeah, I imagine there are some musicians out there who, for whatever reason think us doing videos is a good idea or is in their best interests. But I don't think my feel of it, from having been a musician and having been around musicians, I don't think they'd care, honestly. I really don't. Not the way we're doing it. Because, look, that it's all kind of stupid because there's no money to be made, right? And if you are a famous band, literally what they would make off of our videos would be a drop in the bucket. So it just doesn't make any sense to me at all that the musicians would be the ones complaining about this. Now, I don't think so. I think it has to be someone in management, someone up the chain that calls the shots and is responsible. And musicians might not even realize it's going on. I could see that too, because again, some of them aren't paying very much attention to contracts and whatnot.
YouTube wants people. They want to keep videos up. They want YouTubers that have successful channels. There's Sony Publishing, there's Warner Publishing. They're all the same company, okay? They're run by the same people. Who's making money? Like guys like Don Henley. Don thinks that the Eagles, by him taking down everything that is put up by the Eagles, I wanted to do the Eagles. I love the Eagles. Don Henley thinks that people are going to remember the Eagles in 100 years, in 50 years, in 20 years. You know what? They're not, Don. Sorry.
Now, I'm really curious to hear what you guys think of this one. What do you think? Are the Eagles going to be known or remembered 100 years from now? 50 years from now? 20 years from now? Well, let me see. Last I knew, people were still remembering the Beatles, right? Or you want someone less famous? How about Buddy Holly or Jerry Lee Lewis? Trying to think, Johnny Cash. No, Johnny I think goes back into the 50s. Anyway, my point is there are many early 60s, maybe late 50s bands that are still well remembered and well regarded. And of course, in our little bubble here, the VC community, I swear music, made back then, made 50 years ago, is talked about more, is bought more, is enthused about more than music that came out last week. And you know that I'm one of the biggest advocates of new music, but if there's another VC channel that's more supportive of new music than I am, I haven't seen it yet.
When I did my Tool videos, what did Tool do? Tool put my videos on their website and on their Facebook page and promoted them and didn't take the copyright. Tool is the only band that I've done, and What Makes This Song Great, where I actually, why do they block? You know how you tell, this is how I can tell if a band blocks. If they don't let people do lyric videos, fan videos, if they don't let that happen, then they're blockers. I mean, that's the worst. If somebody wants to promote by teaching your song and keeping it alive, that's what Paul Davids is doing. Adam is talking about songs.
Okay, here's one that I think is really interesting and kind of causes me to think, because I got no problem identifying myself as a fan. Further, I would point my finger at all of you. You are fans, at least the ones I'm aware of. I know who you are. There may be some lurkers that are famous, but I highly doubt it. So yeah, we are fans. But what bugs me a little bit is it seems like Rick's got this tone of, he's in some way, at a different tier than we are. We're merely fans, but he is somehow elevated. And I guess that's, by virtue of what I started out saying, really, truly, he is elevated compared to us. He's done some albums. He's met some people. He maybe's played with some people. All that I believe him when he talks about, and is, I want to say, is probably true. But, I guess bottom line is what I'm saying is he does what he does because he's a fan. He's really no different than the people who are putting up lyrics like he talks about. Sorry, just calling them as I see them.
That's all I have to say about this. I think it's outrageous. And some bands, yes, have actually put my videos back up. Yes. Led Zeppelin put my video, What Makes This Song Great, back up. Thank you, Led Zeppelin. Thank you, yes. Amazing. Queens of the Stone Age put my video back up, which never let it upload, and Fleetwood Mac did. Power to you. Fantastic. There's either somebody in the bands or somebody that is in their management or something is smart about this.
So on this one, I'm glad to see that some bands are, ahead of the curve, far-sighted enough to go ahead and support this and actually allow it. And as Rick said with Tool, actually using it on their website as a promotional tool. I don't know about you, but I'd be flattered at any band that chose to do that. So to summarize, let me just say that I think this video is hilarious. I love to see a good rant, especially one that I care about and so on. And I do care about this issue, and I think it is silly the way we're treated as though we're trying to steal something in using these recordings that we're talking about, so lovingly and glowingly and so on. The issue, like I said, the issue with getting blocked hasn't yet impacted me, and I don't know that it ever will, because most of my music's kind of obscure by nature anyway. Yeah, I'd be upset at that. I'd be upset at being blocked. I can certainly see why Rick has a bit of an edge about that. But see, for me, I'm even righteously indignant about them even giving us copyright strikes. God forbid that one of us makes a buck off of this thing, right? But again, that's not what I'm in here for. I don't think it's enough money for us that it's ever going to be a deal to amount to anything. But I don't think, therefore, it should be that big of a deal to the artist as well. Maybe it's just the principle of the thing. I don't know. Anyway, I hope you'll enjoy this. I thought it was pertinent to you and me. And Rick, if you do happen to see this, I love you. I think what you do is great. I enjoy a ton of your videos. Oh, and that's one more thing I do want to say. If you're watching this and thinking, this is your introduction to Rick Beato, I don't know how he says it. This is not the kind of video he usually makes, and it's not the quality of video. This is done in a hotel room, I imagine, with the webcam on a laptop, and that's not by any means Rick's style and how his normal videos are. So if you're interested in some of the how did a band make a particular record, how what's going on inside of it, or would music, the Police is one video I remember. They debate whether the Police could be popular, could rise to fame today. And so discussions like that, yeah, I think are really cool. I love his channel, but I also thought this was really funny. So there you go.
Don Henley has Windows 95, somebody just wrote.
Beato, I don't know how he says it.